I'm going to experiment today with another recipe in my Keto Restaurant Favorites cookbook. I like this recipe because it's made with shrimp. It's shrimp caprese. Now you can use regular pasta for this. You don't have to use zoodles, which I'm going to use. Zoodles are made with zucchini, but I'm going to use the zucchini because I want this recipe to be keto friendly, but feel free to use regular pasta noodles for this. So let's make shrimp caprese. I have here about 2 cups of grape tomatoes. These come in at about 340 grams. You can use round tomatoes, plum tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. What you want is about 2 cups chopped, about 340 grams. I'm actually going to cut these in half and then put them in my bowl. To my tomatoes, I'm going to be adding 1/2 cup. This came in at about 20 grams of chopped fresh basil. And then 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm going to use extra virgin olive oil because I like the flavor better. A couple tablespoons in there. That should be enough. You could use avocado oil. Avocado oil's got a milder, more neutral flavor. I like the flavor of extra virgin olive oil. Then I've got 3 cloves of garlic in here that I'm going to use my garlic press to crush those in there. So there's my 3rd clove of garlic going in there. And then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. I actually have dry oregano there. That'll do. I don't have Italian seasoning. I'm going to be adding 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to put a pinch of salt in there and then grind some black pepper in there. And a 1/4 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. Give that a good stir to get all those ingredients distributed. That looks good. Just trying to make sure that garlic is distributed. Then I'm going to put a cover on that. I have these silicone covers that I like. And I'm going to put this in the refrigerator for up to 1 hour. Got a skillet heating on the stove here. And I'm going to be putting in 2 tablespoons of whole butter. You could use unsalted. You could use clarified butter. I'm going to melt that in my pan. My butter has melted, so I'm going to be adding 1/2 cup, which is 120 milliliters of chicken bone broth. I have no idea why I'm using this bone broth. I tasted it. It has virtually no flavor at all. I would prefer chicken stock or chicken broth, but here I am following directions. I'm going to bring this to a boil, reduce the heat, and concentrate that a little bit. Maybe reduce it by 1/4 of its volume. This has been reducing, and I'm adding 1.5 cups, which is 350 milliliters of heavy cream. And I want to bring this just to a boil. I mean, this is cold from the refrigerator. Turning the heat off from under this because this has come to a boil. I want to do this next step off heat. So what I have here is 1 cup. This came in about 115 grams of grated. You can use Parmesan or Romano. I'm using Romano. I happen to prefer the flavor. And I want to just gently stir that in till it mixes in. I don't want to stir it too much. And I don't want to do it over the heat because I don't want it to become stringy. Meanwhile, I've been heating my broiler on high, and I've arranged about 1 pound of shrimp. A little bit of shell there. About 1 pound of shrimp on this baking sheet. I lined it with foil for easier cleaning. 1 pound is about 450 grams. I'm going to put these under the broiler and watch them closely. That didn't peel very well. I'm going to wash them closely. These are peeled and deveined mostly. I'm going to wash them until they turn pink. As you can see, these have started to turn pink. The other side is still raw, but that's okay because I'm going to turn these over and broil them again. Before I put these back in the broiler, that's telling me that my tomatoes are ready to come out of the refrigerator. I'm going to cover these with shredded mozzarella cheese. And I have here 1/2 cup of shredded mozzarella cheese. This came in at 60 grams. There are my shrimp again, back out of the oven. I watched it closely till I just started to see some browning. That's when I knew it was time to take it out. Next, I'm going to turn some zucchini into zoodles. I could use my spiralizer. I have one. But what if you don't have a spiralizer? What else can you do? I'm going to cut these ends off here. And then I'm going to cut it down the middle. Like so. And then I'm going to use a vegetable peeler to go along the edge here. And just work around. It's going to take some time. But what I'll do is I'll turn these into flat noodles, like egg noodles. I've got 2 medium large zucchini that I'm going to do this to. There are my zoodles. Those aren't bad looking. They look like flat noodles. Now in the meantime, I'm bringing water to the boil because I don't want to cook these really a lot, but I do want to get them heated up because this is cold. These are cold from the refrigerator. I'm warming my sauce a little bit. I don't want to heat that up too much because I don't want to turn the cheese stringy. I'm going to put my tomatoes and basil in there. That'll also cool that down a little bit because those were in the refrigerator for an hour. So here are my zoodles. Gonna sauce my zoodles here a little bit. Well, actually mostly. And by the way, I tasted this sauce for salt. It didn't need any because of the Romano cheese. Now I have to add my shrimp to that, but clean up this mess here. So there are my shrimp on top. I'm just going to cover those a little bit with sauce. I don't want to bury them. I don't want to hide them. And although I prepared it, I don't really need it. I can cover that with a little bit more fresh chopped basil, and then also sprinkle some additional Romano cheese on top around the edges, make it look nice and presentational. Oh, look at that. That looks fantastic. There is my shrimp caprese. The last step is to taste some of that. I spooned up a nice plate for myself, a little plate for a light lunch. I want to taste my zoodles with this sauce first. Well, that looks good. Get a tomato on there. That is so good. All right, one of my shrimp. That is wonderful. Oh, nice. Just a really nice mixture of flavors in there. So excuse me, I'm going to go enjoy my lunch of shrimp caprese.